Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Thursday. It's April 4th. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and this will wrap it up for the week. No chart lessons on Fridays. A couple other things, a couple of housekeeping things real quick. I did upload the open range uh, indicator. All the instructions are on the download page. You have to be a member of the uh, of our premium section to download that, but it's there if you want to download that. A couple of things about it. Uh, you also have to upload, you have to actually put in the prior day open, high, low, close. And when you do that, go over here to where is it here? Well, I got to click on it. That's the reason I can't find it. And where you see show open on the prior day open, high, low, make that one false. In other words, just click on it and you can make it true or false. We want that to be false. Leave the other three true, um, but make that one false. And then here's your opening range. I gave you directions on how to set that up. And then just save it and hit OK. And it will look like something like this. This red line is where it closed. You can see that's where it closed yesterday, right there. And then the yellow line is where it opens at 8:30 today. So if you go all the way over, it's kind of hard to see what it looks like right now, but if you go all the way over to the far right hand corner, it's just, well, it's going to be impossible to see. But you can see the yellow line there. Basically, anything between that yellow line and the red line will be your gap. And notice what happens when we opened here at 8:30. It didn't take long to fill that gap. It filled it real quick with a couple of sideways bars there. But sometimes the gap will be multiple points. If you had a big open day, like right here, we closed down here the day before, and at 8:30 we opened here, so your red line would be down here and your yellow line would open up way up here, so there'd be that big of a gap. So that's, if you're interested in that, it's there for our members for free download, so just help yourself to it. All the instructions are there. Unfortunately, if you can't figure it out, if you can't figure out how to use your remote on your TV, or you can't hook your DVD player up and figure out how to play a DVD, you probably can't do this. So I know that there's some out there that are not very computer savvy, so you're going to struggle with it. But unfortunately, the directions are there. If you can't figure them out, I just don't have time to support it. So I'm not going to support the indicator. It's there for your use. If you can't figure it out, just ask anybody. Your 10, 15-year-old kid can do it, or grandson or granddaughter or whatever that knows a little bit about computers, because it's nothing complicated, but you have to know how to find your folders, know what folder to put it in, and what buttons to click on. And I know some of us struggle with that, so just be aware of that. But anyway, seemed like there was something else. Oh yeah, the news indicator is on the blink. I don't know what's going on with it. I didn't write that indicator. It was written by somebody else and donated it to the group. At first I thought the site was down, but the site is not down. So it's something, I actually have another news indicator that goes to a different website, and I put it on there and it's not working either. So either they've changed something on NinjaTrader, or I'm leaning towards something on those sites has changed, or else maybe it's something the brokers have done. I don't know. I'm not sure, because I haven't done any updates to NinjaTrader, so I just can't figure it out. We need somebody that wrote the thing to tell us what's going on with it and try to fix it. Hopefully that will happen. If not, we'll see if we can find another news indicator that does work. So, but it's not working. So if you're having problems with it, you're not the only one. You can see right here, there's a news load error, and it's been there for a couple of days now, and I can't figure it out. The fix in between is just go to one of the news sites, Forex Factory or one of the other ones, and download the, or actually don't download anything. Just actually go there and open it up, and you can go to their news page, and they all have that. Most all those Forex places have an economic calendar, and you just go to today's thing. Most of them you can filter where you only see the U.S. news and see the high stuff. So I always filter mine, and just filter it. And as an example, this is the one I usually use. I go to the dailyfx.com, and you click on their economic calendar, and just click on their filters and click select. It'll be all showing at first, and click select none, then just US, and then save it, and then there they all are, and you can see there's nothing that really these are the ones you might watch, but if they're not red, don't worry about them. And I generally don't worry about them unless they're red. So that's why you can do that. It's kind of got us spoiled having the indicator here to just list it on your page. So, but it takes another couple of minutes just to open that page and do that, and that's what I do. So anyway, let's talk about the trades, and we'll wrap it up for today. We'll wrap it up for the week. Another range day, basically. Let me back out just a second. You can see we spent most of the day inside the overnight. Here's your overnight low. Here's your overnight high. We did break outside of that for the most part, but most of the day we were trading with inside of that. And good thing is there's enough movement here, and there is a two-tiered channel working down within that. And we actually early on there was a lot of support right across here, and you can see it came into play a couple more times before we actually pushed lower, and we didn't stay below that very long, and then we were off back up. So early on I was playing these lows and these highs, and this looks very similar to what yesterday looked like. Very, very similar, except we went higher before we went low, and well, actually we went higher before we went lower again today, and then we took most of it back. But I mean, it's been like this for a few days now. So but you can see there's a trend up, a trend down, and then another trend up. And you'd probably want to measure that leg right there. Drag this over, and you can see we came very close to a measurement. We actually went a little bit further. Your closes are basically right there at it. So that would have given you a target, but normally I probably, on this way down right here, I probably would have exited just before this line. And that would have saved you from all this headache here, and then you could have looked for another entry back down again. So let's back out, talk about the trades, and we'll wrap it up for the day. 7 o'clock came right in this little two-legged swing right here. Notice we're working down, and you get a first entry, you pull back, and right off the EMA you get a second entry. This secondary bar here might have scared you away from this one, but really there's a failed second entry short right there. But when you got the second entry long, and this is a relatively bullish bar, I think it's worth risking going long there, because it's pretty obvious when we bounce twice down here where we're probably going next. We're probably going to go test this, and you can see we pushed through it, pulled back, and moved on up a little bit higher than that. When you went into this right here, just stay out of that. Yeah, it went higher, and that's what you would expect, but you didn't really have this trend line to help you until right in here. I got it off the upper side and brought it over here, and so you really didn't have this confirmed until way up here, and so you're better off just stay out of that. And notice you got a new low here, and you push up, and you just got a first entry, and you got a first entry long, and this is off the key entry point. So when this closed up here, I like going long. Actually, I probably would have went long one tick above that bar, with that being so when it broke above that bar, that's where I'd probably go long. And your stop obviously would have to go below this down here. So It's getting a little more risky entering way up here after this closes because of the it's not much room to that high. So you got to be aware of that. It's just a first entry. It's a little aggressive, so I just marked it green. But then notice you get your break here, and you get a first entry, you pull back, and you get a second entry with a nice bullish bar. You might have gotten shaken out of this one. This is why I tell people don't monkey around with your trades. Just put your stop down here where it goes. And yeah, it would have scared you a little bit, but you never would have got stopped out. And then it goes right where you expect. And we had the same thing happen yesterday. You made that high, a little double test. And notice that low right there, first entry, second. This is basically a double bottom. So first entry, second entry, nice bearish bar. I like going short right there. And if you go short right there, you get a runner out of this. And you can ride this all the way down to the other side. Again, I would exit just before wherever I had this line down here, which was right across here. You might have had it a little bit lower, and that's why I like to exit a little bit sooner, because sometimes you don't get there, and if you exit a little bit sooner, you'd have got out right at the bottom before it bounced. Then of course we push right through the EMA. And notice first, you got the two-tiered channel working up. You got a break, two legs to a new high, and then it reverses. Actually, we don't quite get a new high. You just end up with a double test. And somebody asked me about this same setup yesterday. You made your high, you tested it once, you tested it twice, and you've also got a second entry short. Being that far away from the EMA, I'm going to take that most every time. So. And notice how it pushes on through, it pulls back, and you break lower right here. Generally, you would like to wait on a second entry short, but with that being right off the EMA and it testing it so many times right there, when it broke lower, I probably would have waited on this bar. When it broke lower there, I'd go short. Actually, when it broke lower there, I'd probably put my sell stop right back there with a limit order, and you would have got filled on that, and then it drops on down. You actually get a true failed second entry long here with two measured legs down, and it is right off that trend line, but we've been away from the EMA a little bit. I'm a little bit leery of that one, but it fits our criteria. If you want to build, there's not much room to get out there either, and there is some support across here. This is where we're struggling earlier to go up or down. So that one's a little bit iffy in my book, but anyway, you might risk it. And it's really tempting to go long down here being that far away from the EMA, but there's no break of this trend, and this has been a strong trend. Guaranteed we'll probably almost guaranteed we'll test this this low again. And notice we bounce a good bit, but we do end up testing it right there. And it makes a new low. Turns out that there's a channel here. We couldn't tell that this early on. We couldn't get that channel till we got these first two swings. And somebody almost certainly asked me why did I start my trend here. Well, we were still in an uptrend. That's really where the downtrend, that was the last high, so that's really where the downtrend started. So that's why I started it there. And you can see it fits really nicely. Midline works out everything. So. But we do bounce here. Again, that's tempting to ride that back, but with the trend line being right there, it could touch and make another low, and it might even keep going low. But that's a great place to look for a bounce. Look how many times we bounce there. We're probably going to go back to the EMA right there regardless, but it's still a little risky. So I'll mark it green, but I think you're better off just to wait. But notice what happens. You push up. Get a first entry, you push through the EMA, you pull back and get a failed second entry short. And when it breaks above here, I like going long there. Of course, your stop has to go below this bar. Runs up and you get a failed second entry long right there. Again, you're way away from the EMA, but look at that trend line. That's the first break, so I'm going to at least let it go try. And there is a failed second entry long right there, and it does confirm that trend line. But we don't have a new high in place. I think that one's risky. You just have to, I mean, that's a nice move down, and you hate to see it go without you, but that's just the way it works. So, and then you run back up with two legs, and now you get a nice bearish bar on a second entry short right off that what's looking like the trend line. And notice this one's played out. You got a break, a new high, and then a little bit of a trap there as well. So, but I like that entry on the second entry. And if you didn't enter there, definitely enter on this bar when it broke higher and turned back down. And I might even add on if I hadn't, if I'm already in this trade. You may not could get in this one. Notice how it gaps over and it doesn't back up. It actually comes back and fills that little gap real quick right here. And then you get a second entry long, but my signal bar is not very good. And somebody asked me about this. They saw this as a failed second entry long, which it is, but your trend line's over here and you're not back to it yet. You don't have much room here. There is this little gap. So prices are probably going to make two legs back. And so that's why we want to wait on second entries. We just came off the low too on what looks like a range day. So although you got to be concerned about this trend line and figure it's in play, but right here at this midline, it's just not a good place to be entering without being back to the trend line. If we'd had a good signal bar right there, I probably would have entered on the second entry, but my signal bar is not very good. If yours was better, maybe. You do get a little higher low right here, but and that's a bearish bar too, but it didn't even tick higher. I think you just need to stay out of that. And we finally bounce off the low again. And there is a little failed second entry long right there. But that bar is so big. We just came off the low. It's right. It basically makes a double bottom. I don't think you want to be going short right there. We're overdue to bounce. And guess what? It bounces off that trend channel line again, runs up, runs right through. You get a higher low here. I like going long here just simply because it's probably headed here and everything's setting up. And it could just reverse if it's a range day. Notice how we got back inside the range and we bounced right off the original support area right across there. Look how it's acting as resistance here. Now it's acting as support. It's another reason I like it. And this thing, it does come back again here and give you a failed second entry short. But again, we're just stacking up and we're too close to that trend line. And because we could go lower again. So again, this is, look at all those dojis and stuff. Again, that's an area that you just want to stay out of. Just stay out of that right there. And then we actually push through and pull back. And by that time, I would draw that little trend line up through there. And when we bounced off of it again, we really confirmed it right here, but it's right in there. But now that we push through and it's acting as, we came back and tested and it's acting, now we're bouncing off the other side. I think it's worth risking there because we're probably headed up to here. And off it goes. That's a nice entry. And that actually gets you into 2 o'clock hour. There's another little pullback right here with a small bar. It's just the first entry. There's a little bit of resistance across there again. See the support right there. Now it's resistance. It's still acting as resistance. So, and it's right into the upper side of this. It looks like we got an overshoot. So these two are converging right here. This channel up and then this sideways channel. So it's just not a good place to enter. I'd skip that one. And that actually gets us into the 2 o'clock hour. There's a second entry long right here, but that's almost 2:30 by the time that sets up. That one's really tempting right there. But it's the first entry and that's a pretty good move. So I'm not going to take that one. Even though that probably falls right in the window, we'd still take one. So that's what I saw today. Again, it's that range thing going on, but there are trends within it. And this was actually a fairly wide channel coming down here. And both of them really kind of play out. We did get a little overshoot right here. Actually, originally I had this down here, but it turns out it's just up here a little further. And this turns out to be an overshoot, but the range was probably in play at that time. And I still think the range was in play the rest of the day, but we got a little bit below right here. And we didn't quite get to the overnight lows. So actually, no, I take that back. This was the overnight lows right here. I'm looking at yesterday's. This is your break right here. So this is into yesterday. So this was your overnight lows right here. And we got a little bit outside of that. So, and on our overnight highs, we got a little bit outside of that. Probably, usually it'll be about an equal distance. So if you bring this down here, you can see about how far we got out down. It's about the same as what we got outside down here. And notice where that came back into play in the afternoon. That resistance right across there, the overnight high. And notice too, the opening high close and all that stuff, how it's coming back into play as well. So as I said, this was the previous day's close right here, and notice how it was acting as resistance here, access support, resistance. Those things come back into play over and over, and so that's why you might want to put these on your chart and just kind of pay attention to them, and you'll know what's going on there. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. That's going to wrap us up for the week. We'll be back again to do it Monday. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.